Welcome to another episode of iStartFirst podcast for women who start. And today we're talking exactly about that, what it takes to start yourself at the next level in 2020, why the power of your environment is probably one of the most important aspects of your life, and how is that you're planning to show up in 2020. Let's go. Hi, loves. Welcome to iStartFirst podcast, the show for boss babes who start ideas, businesses, dreams, and lifestyle. I'm your host, Alenka Cullinan, founder of iStartFirst, speaker, author, and business coach, aka Queen of Pushing Boss Babes Off the Ledge. On this show, I chat with epic humans who are guaranteed to uplevel your business and mindset. Are you ready to sparkle up? Let's go. Welcome, ladies. Welcome to another episode of iStartFirst podcast. I'm so excited. I'm still flying high after iStartFirst Summit. It's our annual event full of 100 plus, we had about 120 plus women who showed up and stepped into their queendom this weekend. It is so important for us as women to get together. I wanted to share some highlights with you, but also talk about one topic that kept resurfacing over and over and over again, which was the power of your environment. You see, one of the reasons I started, iStartFirst Summit, and the why behind it was the fact that when I was looking for support building my first business in my early business career stages, I literally did not have enough support. Business field is so much preoccupied with men, and any room you walk into is usually 90 to 10 or 80-20 ratio of men to women. So when I was looking for mentors and coaches and rooms full of women, it wasn't something that was widely acceptable and widely available. I definitely wanted to find somebody who was very much like-minded, driven, ambitious, but also understood that there is a power to femininity. You see, what happens a lot of times when we focus on being in business career as women, I see a lot of this where women are trying so hard to fit in that they almost become one of the bros, right? They learn how to embrace that masculine side of them and bring it to the boardrooms and bring it to the C-suites and really show up at that high, very masculine power level. But I personally strongly believe that as women, we bring so much to the table and there is so much difference in us. We're nurturing, we're loving, we're very special. Women run and treat business very differently because we have so many feminine qualities in us. So one of the things I was so excited about when I started iStartFirst Summit was exactly that: how to create a safe environment for a group of women who are driven and ambitious, but yet prevented from turning catty, prevented from judgment, make it a judgment-free, completely safe zone for all of them. And we've had tremendous success with building that. And I attribute some of that success to power of environment. You see, when you look at flowers and flowers wilt, you don't say, we have to change the flower. You actually look at the soil and the environment the flower is in, and you change that. So creating that community, building that process is no different. A lot of times you have to change your environment. It's not even about how much change you put into yourself. It's much more so is how cautious you are about your environment. And your environment includes everything from, books you're exposed to, videos you watch, from your social media feeds, from people who are in your life, from, environment you go to work every single day. And it's so important. I personally believe as a coach, that's one of the hardest things you can win against is is your environment. And that is why I Start First Summit is so successful, because we truly put this women into almost like this incredible high level incubator where they can show up in their highest power, but also their deepest vulnerability, and not feel weak and not feel scared, and really overcome all the doubts that they bring into the room. I mean, it creates extraordinary sense of community and connection. They actually absolutely realize that they're not the only one going through all those things. They realize that a lot of fears they face are the same fears that other women face. They realize that so many other women are struggling in relationships, or possibly careers, or raising kids, or having that, being that multitasker. They realize how difficult it is to balance being a mom and a partner and a wife and a great employee, or a great CEO, or great, business owner. So once they're in that room, the environment is so safe and so welcoming and so open and honest that that's truly their best way to show up in their highest self. They really have opportunity to step into the highest, best version of them, because they essentially are stripped away from their identity when they walk into that room, and their guard goes down. And it takes time, and of course, that's the reason I bring experts who are masters, absolute masters of their craft, who know, the specialty field that they're in at 1,000% level. So with the help of the experts, with the fact that the environment is so safe, these women are able to drop their walls, to drop their guards, to really, get rid of, or release their identity and issues and their blocks, and some of the limiting beliefs are they attached to, and they really step into the high level of awareness. They become very, very aware of some of the attachment patterns they have, some of the difficult situations they put themselves to. They become aware of some of the stories they write inside of their mind, and they live their stories over and over again. And I truly believe that that is why the summit is so successful. It's such a huge catalyst for so many women who have come there from all over the country, who have exposed themselves with with incredible bravery. Because to be honest, part of being there is that first step, is that starting point of bringing yourself into that room. Because I shared that at the summit, as women, we're so great at talking ourselves from our talking ourselves from our best ideas, right? We literally will have a whole story of why it's not going to work. We will go through every excuse and think of all the people who are going to judge us, and think of all the people who are going to say, what are you doing? And we literally talk ourselves out of the best ideas. And so when they show up in that room, they have that support and the camaraderie from fellow women who are in that room, but they also have that push, that beautiful push to get them to fly from the experts who are in the room. And that is why, those events work, because it gives you opportunity on one hand to break down your walls and drop your guard, but on another hand, you are being filled with the most beautiful, brave ideas, with this incredible resources to help you to elevate yourself to the next level. So it's a very much twofold approach. You get broken down, but then you get built up in your best, most highest version of self. And so that is why I'm so privileged and grateful that I'm able to run iStartFirst Summit twice a year for all these extraordinary women who do take a chance on themselves, and they do step into the room, and they just simply start. Because part of it is taking that first tiny brave step and buying that ticket and getting into the room. And of course, I'm so excited about the iStartFirst Summit in 2020. And we have some special announcements coming up soon, so you'll have to wait for that. But one of the topics, usually it's interesting, we never plan that. We don't really have themes for our summits, but one of the topics that kept coming up this year over and over and over is the importance of the environment. Because you see, a lot of times as women, we're so nurturing, we're so protective, we want to support everybody so much. We serve everybody before we serve ourselves, that you know purposefully and not purposefully creates a lot of times an environment in our life that maybe is not that great for growth. We all have friends that have been in our lives, or relatives or loved ones that have been in our lives for years, that sometimes turn out to be very, very critical. And as women, we tend to hold on to things like that. We tend to hold on to people and situations, thinking that we can change that, thinking that we can, if I just invest a little bit more in this person, if I give them just one more chance, if I wait on a little bit longer. But here's the thing, for anybody, and I'm telling this to you as a coach at this point, for anyone to change themselves, they don't need anybody else. What they need is a decision and the desire that they actually want to do it. And then they will seek out that help, whether it's coaching or therapy or whatever that is, a course or different group. They will do it because they desire and wish to do it on their own. You cannot be the push, the drive, the, cheerleader. You can be the cheerleader. That's probably as far as I would go. But in terms of them, convincing them to change, that almost never works, because until that desire and that deep drive comes from within, people don't really want to do that. And you can't really convince anybody of anything, because then you have to spend your whole life convincing. So what we need to learn to do is clear our environment. A lot of times, it's just like, it's no different than cleaning clutter, right? Cleaning clutter in your room. Does it bring you joy? I mean, it is pretty sad that, you can make that analogy with people. But if you truly, realistically today sat down and look at the list of the people that you spend your most time with, do these people bring you joy? Do they bring value to your life? Do they propel your growth? Do they align with what you want to build? Because if they can't check most of these boxes, they really shouldn't be in your life. And I was explaining that to attendees at the summit. No, you don't have to be cruel or crude to where you tell them, you don't add value to my life and therefore I can't have you. Although I did have these conversations. I truly believe in honesty and authenticity. And I've had these conversations before with some people who were very, very close to me, because I believe that it was also on them to learn that they do bring or trigger this side in people. So, but what you can do is just simply distance yourself. You don't really need to explain things. There is one of my favorite mentors, Darren Hardy, has this, comparison where he says, there are some people who are your week friends, which means you see them weekly. There are some people who are your yearly friends that you maybe only see on holidays or connect on holidays. And then there are some people who you're, minute friends. You spend a few minutes with them a year, and that's enough. So you as a woman decide in your circle who's there to elevate you. You see, I've reinvented my circle multiple times this year for that exact reason, because your environment is the hardest thing to win against. If everybody in your life is complaining and whining and negative and pessimistic, it's really hard to be positive and real, optimistic around that. But the only way you can create new patterns in your mind is by being optimistic. You see, you cannot be realistic. Everybody talks about being a realist, but realism only gets you so far. If your situation right now is not where you want to be, yes, it's great to have awareness of that, but to build your new patterns, you actually have to be optimistic. You have to look at it from your higher version of self and to see, how do you get yourself to that next level? What is that who do you need to show up as every single day to get to that level? You know, I mean, you are your own brand essentially 24/7, 365, right? I mean, there is a reason I have a pink microphone because, my brand is pink, black, and sparkles, and that's what I stand for. And I do believe there is, a girly side to every woman that needs to be explored or should be explored because, as those feminine qualities bring so much to the table, and they have so much, there's so much special qualities in us as women specifically in comparison to men. So that's my belief. This is something what I stand for. So most of the women in my life, I align with my beliefs, because how else am I going to grow if they're not going to push me? Of course, it's great to see different perspectives, and you need to have that healthy combo of both. You need to have a combo of where you have women who are aligned with you and in vision and goals. You absolutely need to have people in your life who are higher, much, much higher than you. I mean, your goal ideally is to always be in the rooms where everybody's smarter and more accomplished than you, because that's what makes you to level up. If your environment is one step above you, if your environment is where everybody plays a little bit of a higher game, that environment is going to absolutely 1000% make you grow. If your environment is, in a slump, then same thing. It's going to start affecting you because it's so, so hard to win against your environment, like I said. So one of the reasons I talk about environment a lot is because it is a scientifically proven fact. You can only create in your higher power if you feel completely, aligned, if you feel joy, if you feel fulfilled, if you're at your highest level of connectivity. So if you're not in that level, if you're not in that environment, you cannot build successful businesses. It's hard to create from a place of low vibration, or if you don't believe in vibration, of low, of low moods, when you are not happy, when you're don't take care of yourself, when you don't have enough sleep, when you're exhausted, when you're sick. It is very hard to create at your highest ability, right? All you want to do is hide and lay in bed and maybe ignore everybody. So as women especially, we sometimes get so caught up in doing a million things for a million people that we literally put ourselves last. And I was at a conference recently, and one of the speakers there made this beautiful connection. She said, and it really resonated with me, because she said, as women, everybody thinks that we need a full cup and we should serve from a full cup. And she said, no, I want you to imagine a teacup and a saucer, and the teacup is you. So the teacup is just for you, and for you to be filled up with most beautiful things, with amazing ideas, and having amazing people in your life, and having all that beautiful environment around you. And when it starts spilling into the saucer, that's what you serve from. You take that saucer, that extra, and that's what you serve from. And it really, really resonated with me, because to be honest, serving from that highest version of yourself, when you have so much, you actually are excited to share. You are excited to create. You're excited to go to the next level. So if you don't have that ability to serve from that point because you don't have enough fulfillment, it makes it really, really hard. So your environment should be one of the most protected, intentional, extraordinary things that you maintain in your life. And, through that environment, opportunity is how you win really, really big. So one of the things I am so, so excited about for 2020 specifically, because, I personally look at 2020 as my year. It's a new decade. I owe a lot to myself. I plan to deliver on that. And it's never fun to be at the top alone. So I want to take some women with me, and I want to create the most extraordinary growth environment imaginable. So we're rolling out the whole new 2020 Bootcamp, which is going to be mastermind-like community for 15 women. I'm going to take 15 women on a journey of 12 months. And it's going to be very aligned, very driven, and honestly, I want to show these women how much you can do in 1 year, because sometimes we have such a skewed perception of time, but you truly can absolutely transform your life in 12 months. And I've had such incredible results from boot camps that we've been running before, where we have women launching companies in 7 months and going next level in 6 months and changing their lifestyle completely in 6 to 7 months. So I'm very, very excited to take this group of 15 women on this extraordinary opportunity where you are literally going to be driven by action, profit, and accountability. Because I honestly believe that as women, we undermine profits so many times in our companies. We don't talk about them enough. We don't understand the importance of them. We really avoid accountability. A lot of times, accountability with ourselves. We break the word to ourselves. So what you're going to get is bi-weekly calls with me. So I'm literally going to handhold you for the whole process as a coach, as a partner in crime, as your side girl or main girl or whatever. And then we also are going to have monthly Zoom calls with the group, and some of them will be also aligned with some expert teachings and some influencer teachings, people who have truly created mastery in their careers. They're going to be invited on those calls. We're also going to have private Facebook group where everybody can stay vulnerable and open and raw and honest. And also it's going to add accountability. And then there will be 2 intensive weekends in those 12 months. So 2 times you're going to come together as a group for an intensive weekend with me. We're going to have some fun. We're going to unwind, but we will also create a very intentional, high-level learning experience. And obviously, there'll be strategic introductions and a lot of more surprises coming. But I am so excited about this because I truly know that when a woman shows up for herself and she's placed in the best growing environment possible, she becomes unstoppable. So if that's you, if you're that driven, ambitious woman who are ready, and maybe you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, or maybe you are ready to go to the next level and you've had that dream sit inside of you for a while now, or maybe you are in a career but you've needed a change for a long time, or maybe you're in a relationship that's stagnating and you don't really know how to find that balance between running a business and being a mom and being a wife. So if you are one of those women, I will have application. It's an application process, and I'll have application open in the show notes so you can apply. We're going to have women from all over the country. It's going to be 15 spots total. 5 of them are already taken, so I cannot wait to see who else will show up for themselves, take it to the next level in 2020, and truly appreciate the power of the growing environment. Because one thing you cannot win against, or it's really hard to win against, is your environment. So I'm so excited for all of you. Let's go into 2020 on a major level and kick ass and sparkle. Thank you so much for listening to iStartFirst podcast. If you loved it as much as I did, feel free to tag us on Instagram at iStartFirst_. Share it with your besties, and if you feel so compelled, give us that 5-star review on iTunes. Till next time, and like always, kick ass and sparkle up.